Love that. Every single time. Doesn't get old.
Yo, when this wakes you up at 9 a.m. for your first class, you know it's, you know, you like.
It's a real time.
Life. Yeah. All right. Just a quick thumbs up from our hackers if you can see our presentation here that I'm sharing. Just want to make sure that everybody can see it. All good. Thank you, Rohan. Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's just get 201. Sorry, welcome. This is our first time running Git 201. We usually just go with Git 101. Joyce does an amazing job, but this year we wanted to go a little bit above and beyond of what Joyce usually covers. For those who are interested in going a little bit more into Git, using Git for projects, things like that, I've got introduced to Git via Joyce's workshop a year ago. And since then, I've been using Git more and more, especially with my personal projects. At first, I didn't use it like at all, and then I started using it for my personal projects just because if I use it on my personal projects, I can practice so that when I use it on my co-op, if I get one, I know what's going on. So if you want to practice, just use it for your personal project. Even if it's like a Hello World project, just practicing doing branches and commits and things like that helps a lot. Yeah, so I'm JP Garcia, director for nwHacks, third year UBC CMS student.
And I'm Kevin, or I think since we have two Kevins on our team, I go by Kevo. But yeah, I'm a fourth year at UBC studying CS.
He's part of the nwHacks team as well. All right, and we're very excited to have you here today. Teach you a little more about Git. Agenda, table of contents. I'm gonna ask right now in a few seconds if you're all comfortable opening a GitHub repo in your computer or creating a project on your computer and then creating a repo for it on GitHub. If we are all comfortable with that, we'll just move on and not touch on that. If not, we will. We'll then talk about issues, branches, and PRs and how one works with the other. Then we'll go through a recommended Git workflow. And then we'll talk about how to manage merge conflicts and go through a rebase. It's a fancy command that Git gives you. Then we'll also talk about another command called Revert. And then if we have time, we'll touch on the Git Ignore files, the README files, and if we have even more time, we will all together create a README file for your GitHub profile. So without further ado, I would like to ask, are you all comfortable with creating a project on GitHub and then coding it into your computer, or creating a project on your computer and then pushing it or instantiating Git and pushing it over to GitHub or GitLab? If you can text on the text channel or some kind of reaction, that would be really appreciated, so we know if we should go into this or not. Anybody with any hard wishes of go into this or not go into this, please speak now or forever hold. How does that go? Hold your peace.
Forever hold your peace, yeah.
Forever hold your peace. There we go. All right. If nobody's gonna speak, then we're just gonna move through since this is something that Joyce went over. Hopefully that's the case for everyone. Okay, peace is held. So we're just moving on and talk about issues, branches, and PRs. I know that Joyce talked about a little bit about branches, but we're gonna just open a big GitHub repo and just talk about all the issues that they have, how the branches are, like why we have branches and how they connect to issues, and then how those issues and branches connect to PRs and they end up on the deployment branch. So let's go to that. I'm gonna open this GitHub repo. It's the discord.js repo. It's just a very nice API that people use to create Discord bots using JavaScript. I've used this, thus why I'm showing you this. So if you just look for Discord.js GitHub, it will show you this. And what we want to look at is the issues first. So issues are things that, well, I guess before we move there, sorry, let me take a step back and talk again about why we use GitHub, right? We use GitHub to share code with others and to work collaboratively with others. I'm sure Joyce mentioned this, and hopefully you've thought about times in your life, maybe in the past, present, or future, where it would be a good idea to use GitHub, right? So for example, for this project, this is an open source project, meaning that anyone can support this project and push code to it and make fixes to it, right? So if I wanted to, I could go in here, look at the issues, see what I could fix, try to fix it, and then see if my code makes it to the end product or not. So this is how issues tie in, right? Issues, anybody can open an issue for any public repo. And so, for example, if I was using Discord.js and I found a bug, what I would do is come in here, create a new issue, and title it, oh, bug on this thing. I would give a description, things like that. So for example, here, this person has submitted a bug, and they talk about how they can recreate the bug, when did this happen, things like that. And then the developers of this open source project start adding comments and just discussing about why this could happen and things like that. So this is what issues are. Issues are not only bugs though. Issues can be anything from bugs to enhancements to new features to updating dependencies. It can be a lot of different things, and you see all these really cool, colorful, round buttons. Those are called tags. And so whenever someone puts an issue, a developer will look at the issue and then add the necessary tags, so that then other developers know if you should do this or that, and if it's a bug or it's unverified, verified, things like that. So this is how issues play out. This is a really cool thing about GitHub. This is not Git related. This is GitHub related. If you use other things like Gitbucket, then Gitbucket should have something very similar. I've honestly never used Gitbucket. Apologies for that. But I use GitHub. Most people use GitHub. So this is how issues happen. Now, what if I wanted to tackle this issue right here? What would I do? Well, what I would do first is, since this is not my repo, I would have to fork it. So I would just say, all right, I want to grab all this code, bring it, link it from its main domain, so discord.js/discord.js, link it to my domain, so my own GitHub user, and then I would start working on this fix. And once I'm done with that fix, I would let the other developers review it and see if it works or not. So when I start working on a project or on an issue, what I want to do is add a branch for that specific issue. That's like projects could have dozens and dozens of open branches, each branch for a different issue and a different feature, things like that. And that's just the convention. So you find an issue that you want to work on, you fork it, or you clone the project, you create a new branch for that feature or for that issue, you work on it, you commit all your changes, you push it over to your new branch origin. So it wouldn't be origin master, origin, your branch's name. So let's say in this case, we call our branch bug fix 1. We would just push to origin bug fix 1. And then what? So I've found an issue, I've made some code, I have the branch with that code. How do I let the developers know that I've tried to solve this issue and that they should look over my code to see if it works properly or not? That's where pull requests come in, and we'll move over to pull requests. So pull requests, what pull requests are, if George didn't go into more detail, I'll just go over a very brief description. Pull requests are requests that users can do to grab a branch and merge it or just shove it in to another branch. So for example, if I made some changes, I would, on my branch, I would make a pull request to merge my branch into the main branch, and then people are going to review it. And then if people accept those changes and they like them and they think that it'll work well, they can accept it, and then we can merge those changes. We can merge that branch into the main branch. That's the main code that then is used by millions to create Discord bots using JavaScript, right? I have this very nice website that goes through all of this very nicely, right? So again, we find an issue, we create a branch, right? After we create a branch, we add some commits. Those are our changes that we're doing. Once our changes are done and we think we've done a good job, we make a pull request, right? As soon as we make a pull request, we let other developers discuss and review our code. Most open source projects are not going to let you merge new code until verified developers agree with the changes and accept your pull request. Sometimes they ask for one accept, sometimes they ask for multiple, 2, 3, 4. I think Discord.js uses at least 3 reviews have to be made, and they all have to agree with accepting the code. And then once the review process is complete, we just merge it, redeploy it, or we basically just merge it back to the original development branch. So, and that's how we go from issues to branches to then pull requests. And then how we complete the circle is that a pull request, when you create the pull request, you usually link it to an issue so that when you close that, when you merge that pull request, that automatically closes an issue. And that's how we close the entire cycle, from issue to branch to pull request to a closed issue, and you're done. So for example, right here, this PR has no linked issues. You can see on the very bottom here, which is kind of weird. So let's go back into the pull requests and see if we can find one that has a linked issue to it. Improved type safety. This one should have a linked issue. Let's see. Okay, no linked issue either. That is unfortunate. But let's look at some other things. And you see how whoever created this branch, if we read right here underneath the title, we see Pizza Fox wants to merge 6 commits into Discord master, right? So that's the master branch with all of the most up-to-date correct code. And then it says from Pizza Fox patch 2. So that's Pizza Fox's branch that he used to work on the changes. This repo uses a specific naming convention where you first name yourself and then name the branch or what you're trying to accomplish with this branch. So he said Pizza Fox patch 2. We can see his comments. Again, different projects will have different templates for PR comments. Here we have status and then semantic versioning classification and then a quick description. You can look at the commits here. These are all the different commits that he made to this branch. You can also see the file changes, and you can even add, you can make some reviews. Right? So you can come in here and be like, all right, yes, this looks good. This looks good. Actually, this doesn't. So I'm just going to add a quick comment here, things like that. I'm not going to do that because I don't know if this is right or wrong. And then verified developers by this repo can go in and accept the PR. And so, for example, here, one person approved it. CKY ran it, approved these changes, and so it is able to be merged to master. Also, some repos are going to have some automatic checks. So, for example, if we look at it here, this repo has 6 automatic checks with some testing, some code QL analysis, things like that. That it just makes sure that there's no bugs, no errors, things like that. Very basic stuff. These are good checks to have. Some repos have that other string. Yeah, so this is the full cycle of issue to branch to pull request, to the pull request being checked and be reviewed, and then once again we merge them and the issue gets closed and we close the cycle. I've been talking for more than 15 minutes. I just wanted to go over and see if that made sense to everyone, and if anybody has any question about this kind of cycle of issues, branches, PRs, closed issues. Please feel free to speak up or make a question. Thank you, Mokaro, for letting me know I didn't make sense. That's great. It might be a little bit hard to understand at first. Again, once you start doing it with your personal projects, or if you go into an open source project and help out there, it'll start making more and more sense as you use it more and more often. And then if you get into a co-op or an internship, you're definitely going to use something like this. And again, once you do it there, it'll make more and more sense. All right, that's awesome, Rohan. Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know that it makes sense. That is great news. So just another 5 minutes of how can we leverage, using issues, branches, PRs, and so on and so forth to have a good workflow. So what usually happens, and again, this is just a recommendation. This is not something that is mandated, but it's just a recommendation. I'm gonna open this website here. I thought I had it open, but it disappeared. This picture kind of summarizes how most or a lot of projects use branches and just use Git branches and things like that. Everything starts with a develop branch. The develop branch is going to have all the most up-to-date features. So for example, think about it. If you all play games, you know that we have the main release, and then we have an alpha and a beta and things like that. Well, the develop branch would have all the alpha, all the beta, like all the most up-to-date features that have been accepted into the develop. That's what develop is going to have. And we usually don't get users to use the develop branch because it might have some very new code that we still don't want to publish. So from the develop branch, we're constantly creating a new branch, we're adding a new feature, and then we're merging it back again into that branch, again using that system of finding an issue, making a branch, making a PR, merging that PR back again to develop. And we do that over and over and over again with new issues, with new features, with new improvements, with new bug fixes, things like that. Now, as soon as we find a develop state that we think is good enough to release to the public, that's when we go ahead and create a pull request to move what we have in develop right now to another branch called either releases or master. Some projects don't have too many branches between develop and the final end user. Sometimes it's just from develop, they go directly into production. Others do have a UAT that's just for testing purposes. That's user testing. But again, that's up to you and your project. So for example, for our GitHub, for our Discord JS bot, for nwHacks, what we do is we have a develop branch, then we have a master branch with the most up-to-date develop releases, and then from that master branch, we get another like nwHacks production branch, and then we have a HackCamp production branch and other branches there for different events. But that's kind of like how we use branches to keep everything ordered and have some kind of order in our Git workspace. Does that make sense? Again, any questions from anyone about this? All right, if no questions are asked from chat, I will assume everybody is having an awesome time in this easy breezy stuff that we're talking about. Okay, so then I'll move it back to Kevo. She's going to talk about rebasing. Oh, these are pretty interesting stuff we use in the next project.
Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna grab my friend, Mr. Sharp. Good old meeting friend. He's gonna help TA this workshop today. And he'll just be chilling over here. Okay, so let me share screen. Oh, can I get a screen sharing? I don't think I'm on my. Oh, why?
You don't have? Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have it.
I'm sorry.
I'm not a part of the team.
No, don't think that. Oh wait. Okay. As I give Kevin the co-host. Wait. I need Daniel to give co-host permissions to Kevin. Daniel, please. As that happens, Nehal, I hope that pronounced correctly, is asking like what workflow should we use for our personal projects? Should we use best practice or something that for you personally? I would say if you're just starting to use Git and GitHub and issues and things like that, I would definitely recommend just to go with something that you feel comfortable with and that you think it's going to work well for you. And then as soon as you start, as soon as you're on like your fourth, fifth, sixth project or your second or third big project, or just you feel more comfortable using Git and GitHub, I would definitely recommend you to start using more common practice Git workflows, just because that's going to show the employers like, all right, like this person, we don't need to teach him how to use Git. Like he's already up to speed on best practices. He knows how to do it properly. And that's just an added bonus, right? Especially for those that might not be a CS major, like myself. I'm a CMS major, I'm a CS major. So I take every advantage I can get. And that's one of the advantages, right? Like getting that practice with GitHub and Git and the best practices, even in my personal projects that are probably not going to be seen by anybody else except for my employers. I hope that makes sense.
Thanks, JP. Great intro. Let me make sure my screen share is going to be okay. Okay, hopefully everyone can see that. So it's going to present mode. We won't be here for long. We're going to get pretty hands-on with this, but I'll be taking over for the next little bit to talk about the wonderful world of rebasing. So what is rebasing? Well, rebasing is shortly put an alternative to merging. So typically you want to merge or rebase when, you've been working on a feature branch, as JP mentioned before, and you're working on it. It's been a while and you're finally done, or you want to introduce some updates from your master/main branch into your feature branch. Two benefits of updating your feature branch with master/main. The first one being that it helps avoid merge conflicts when you do push to master eventually. And it's just good practice overall to keep your code clean. So why would you ever want to pick rebasing over merging? Well, in comparison, rebasing results in a real squeaky clean commit history. It also helps keep your commits linear. So let's talk about how it works. On the left side, we have a diagram kindly borrowed from Atlassian about how merging master into a feature branch works. And on the right side, we have one for how rebasing a feature branch onto master works. So let's take a look at the merging one first. We can see on the bottom here, we've got with the blue dots, the master branch, and on the top, we've got the feature branch. So when you merge your master branch into your feature branch, what that actually does, it makes a dedicated commit. And you've probably seen this one before. It says like merge master into feature branch. And we'll talk a little bit about why that isn't the most useful later on. But what's important now, and the key takeaway, is that it creates a dedicated commit here. When you're doing a rebase, on the other hand, what happens is all the changes that happen from the last time you pulled master and from when you are rebasing, all the changes that maybe other teammates have done or other coworkers, if you're in a working situation, all of that gets kind of put into the middle. So essentially it is the version of master that you had before, then what everyone else has worked on, and then what you've done. And this results in a straight line. So hence the linear commit history. And also we can see here, these three commits are very feature relevant. So on the left side, we can see we had your work commits 1, 2, and 3. And then we had an extraneous commit, which was your merge commit. Whereas on the right side, we just have commits 1, 2, and 3. So it keeps your history clean. So for a more visual example of this, we can go into the next slide. And we can see a source from my Jank repository over at my GitHub here. So I just threw this one really quickly together. And we can see on the left side what happens when you do a merge, and on the right side what happens when you do a rebase. So we can see we've done some feature work in feature 2 work and feature work here, and a change to master here. So let's pretend like these two were done in a feature. Well, these two were done in a feature branch, and then this was done in a master branch. So when I'm updating my feature 2 branch, merging main into that, you get this extra commit here. And that isn't really great when you're sifting through your commit history, maybe when you're looking for bugs, or you're just like looking for context. And then this merge is just when you're merging a PR in. When you're doing a rebase instead, we can see that here's our update to the master. And then we have our feature work, but we don't have this merge branch main into feature branch. And that's kind of like the key thing that you want to take into mind when you're doing the rebase. With that said, let's go into a more hands-on type of a demo. So here I've got a pretty simple repo set up. It's just a README. So I'm checked out on the main branch right now. Also, sorry, let me check the chat to see if there's anything I'm missing. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so let's do some changes, some random change to, well, actually, sorry, let's not do that first. So we'll check out 2 branches. So I'll do a git checkout with the B flag for a new branch, and we'll do feature branch 1. And let's also check out second one. We'll rename this with Rebase just to make sure that we know where we are. Okay, let's go back to main, and let's make some changes to main. So let's do some changes to main. Save that, and we can commit that really quickly. Do a commit. Oh, sorry. Changes to main, and then we'll push that up. And in a quick couple of seconds, we should see in our repo that this reflects in the README. So you can see the changes have been made here. But what happens is when we check out, let's say feature branch 1, because it's not updated with master yet, we don't see those some changes to main text here. So let's pretend we're another developer and we're working on a feature. So let's do some work for a feature. Now, this is a pretty simple example, so we probably will run into a really simple merge conflict, but this is the reason why you want to do a merge or a rebase before you push the master and make a PR, because you want to fix those things on your end before you have to fix it later on. So let's do a merge example first. So we'll go into this, and we'll commit this to our feature branch. So git commit feature work for feature 1. And then now let's do a merge. So we'll get merge main. And we see we have a nice little merge conflict here. No worries, we'll accept both the changes. And just for clarity's sake, we'll put the main change on top first. So we've done that. And now we can follow the instructions. So it says automatic for merge failed, fix conflicts, and then commit the result. So here we can see like a kind of allusion to how we have to make a dedicated commit. So our commit history gets kind of polluted here. So let's commit this change anyways. And we don't need to add a message this time. The usual message should be fine. All right, so that has been done. Now let's push this up to our remote branch. So we can do it up to git push upstream origin and then the name of our branch. Have to do this again. And when we go into our repo, refresh, there it is. Okay, so we'll compare the 2 different branches later, but we can see here, we have, I'll zoom in a little bit. So you can see here that we had feature work for feature 1. So this is the important commit. This is what's relevant to your current PR. And then we have this merge branch main into feature branch 1. And let's take a look at this diff down here first. So we see here's the feature work. But if we check this, it's kind of weird because this change wasn't made in this PR, but it's still getting reflected in the commit history. And it's not really relevant to what we're doing. So let's see what Rebase does for us in this case. So we're going to go check out our feature branch 2 with Rebase. And as we can see, no changes here. So let's do some work for feature 2 and save that. And then we can, this time instead of merging, we'll do a rebase. So git rebase. So I'm actually gonna check the chat first. I see a couple of messages come up. I think we're okay. Okay, looks like we're okay. I'll answer any questions after as well. So git rebase, and we're gonna put in much like git merge and how you put into the branch you want to merge into your current branch. We're gonna do git rebase and the branch we want to rebase on top of. So we get rebase main, so it'll be main, and then we're rebasing feature branch 2 on top of that. So let's do git rebase main. Wait, sorry, 1 second. I forgot to commit. Don't worry, everyone makes mistakes. So let's commit those changes first. git commit all of these, some work for feature 2. All right. And also, if you don't know how I'm doing this right here, you just do the up and down keys, and that'll give you that'll just cycle through which commands you've gone in your history. So let's go to git rebase main. We see our classic kind of changes here, and we can set both of them here. And now another difference between merge and rebase. So we can see this time it isn't asking us to make a dedicated commit to it. It's just saying all you gotta do is add it and then hit git rebase continue right here. So we'll just do that. So we'll run git add, put a period here to designate that we want to add all of our changed files. Then we can run git rebase continue. So we see that happens. Now let's push it to origin. Okay. All right. So let's check out our repo. We should have this up pretty soon. I'll open up a new tab just so we can compare them. So check this. Okay. So we can see here, the magic is happening. We only have the single commit that's relevant to our work here. So this is the rebase branch. And in comparison, here is the merge branch. So we don't have this extra random merge branch main into this. When you're working in like industry and everything, like you always want to merge your main branch before you make a push to master. So it's a pretty common thing. It's a pretty useful thing to rebase all of your work. So that's kind of an example there. There's one more quick cool thing about rebase. Have you ever had a random commit that is like, let's see. Like, let's say one time you forget to add, like you have a typo. So let's say I wrote a typo here. Instead of feature, I wrote feature. So let's say I didn't check over my code correctly, and I just committed it immediately. I was like, okay, whatever. I have proficient English skills. I don't need to care about that. So let's pretend like, whoops, I'm ignorant of typos. Or let's actually have a good commit message, future work. Okay. So what I used to do a lot was I would just do this. I would change it here, save it, and then run another commit again. And in fact, this is what we can do. But with Rebase, we can actually remove that stain on our commit history. We can remove that. So what we'll do is we'll commit this, say typo. And with Rebase, we actually have interactive commands. So we can run git rebase with the I flag and rebase on the main. And this opens up this kind of scary, but honestly very helpful dialogue. So we can see here all the work that we have, all the commits that we've made on our current branch. So this some work for feature 2 was the first one we made. The feature work was when I made the typo, and this typo commit is when we fixed the typo. So we don't want our coworkers and our teammates to see that we made a mistake. What we can do is we can actually fix up those commits. So this is the Vim editors. And if you're not familiar with it, don't worry, I'm not either. I just know how to get by. What we can do is we can press I to go into interactive mode, or sorry, insert mode. We use the arrow keys to go down and up. And there's a couple ones that we care about most. We care about pick, fix up, and reword. So pick just means that you pick the commit and it'll show up in your commit history. Reword means you can change the actual commit message. And fix up means that you take that commit and you merge it into the last one. So in this case, we'd want to do that for our typo commit. So we can do pick and then do fix up here. We're just fixing some stuff. And once you've made all your changes to each one, what you can do is press exit to leave insert mode. And then for Vim to save and exit, it's W and Q. So we'll do that. And now we can push it again. And it might complain, but oh, looks like it didn't this time. So we will push it up, and there's some weird highlighting here, but I think it should be okay. And now when we refresh, we can see we just have our future work here, and the typo commit doesn't show up because we fixed it up. So great way to dodge having that kind of thing on your thing. That thing on your thing, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna check if we have any questions right now. I think we should be okay.
There is 2 things that people are asking, a lot of people are asking if you have any Git extensions for VS Code, and if so, if you can show them to us, that
Oh
others
yeah,
can use them as well.
absolutely. So I don't have any. I do have an extension, but I didn't use it for this one. You might have noticed that, like you see this used seconds ago. I think this is from Git Lens. So Git Lens is a cool extension where, okay, it's not configured correctly on my current VS Code, but Git Lens is a super cool extension that gives you like more context on your commits. And I do believe it's what causes this line by line thing here. So you can check out when you made changes. But yeah. Besides that, I don't have anything else except for Git Lens. And what was the second question? Let's see.
It was slides. I sent the slides link to the chat in case you want to look over them. You don't have a lot of information. Most things are going to be just presented to you in the screen.
Oh, is there any downside to using Rebase instead of merge? I may not be super qualified to say this, but I think there's no downside as long as you're using it correctly. So there is a tutorial linked at the end of the slides that will tell you like one golden rule of using Git Rebase, and that is you only use Rebase when you're working in a private branch. So you wouldn't want to rebase your main onto a different branch, if that makes sense. You always want to be rebasing main, like you always want to be rebasing your branch onto main instead of main onto your branch. I probably didn't explain that super well. Please bear with me, but you can definitely check out the tutorial after and it'll give you a really in-depth explanation for that. Okay. I think that is all for Rebase. Super cool thing. We can pull these in just for the hell of it. And we'll see that the commit history is nice and neat in our repo. So let's confirm these merges. Okay, not planned. If we go back into our screenshot earlier, that is what it looks like. Like the one here.
I guess we can just go through. Can you go into the merge conflicts on the GitHub website? So Kevo showed you how you can deal with, and then I think Joyce did as well, deal with merge conflicts through the command line and through VS Code and all that kind of stuff. But if you're like me, who is not the best at GitHub, you might start using the GitHub website to resolve conflicts. It sucks. It doesn't have as many functionality as using command line and editors, but it works anyways. It will give you the conflicts and you can edit the files.
Yeah.
From like a few days ago on, I've stopped using this because it really has very few features. But if doing it with the command line or with VS Code is a little bit too much for you, you can definitely just use this. It's very simple and very straightforward and very friendly.
Yeah. Just a quick overview on how to fix a conflict. So we see on the top side, these arrows here represent, so it's split into two parts. The first one is your current changes, and the bottom part is what's coming in. So we can see here before we had some work for feature 2. That's from this branch, feature 2, branch 2 Rebase. And this one's from main. So it's pretty simple. Your end goal, like how I like to think of it, is I want to get rid of these like random things here. So I'll do just that. I'll get rid of them. And then it depends on how complicated the conflict is, but here I can see like it's not too complicated. I can just remove this and mark as resolved. Then you can commit the merge. And once I'm done that, it'll show up here. It kind of sucks because we wanted to rebase this in the first place, but what I didn't do was I should have merged the merge branch in first, then pulled master, and then rebased it on my side again. that would have been a perfect opportunity to show it off. But you can see this is a great example of why you should do that. So yeah, we'll merge that in. I kind of messed up the example, but we'll hop into the second one, which is, oh, an oopsie. How do we revert them? I'll make it a little bit bigger for now, but reverting. So let me tell you a story. On my first co-op position, I've been working hard for 2 weeks, getting used to everything. And I finally got the chance to push to production, and your boy messed up. I messed up big time. So I was panicking. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get fired. My co-op term's really about to end in 2 weeks. But most important part when it comes to a revert, or like when you make a problem, a bug, all you gotta do is stay calm. It's super easy, super straightforward. So the two commands we're gonna be using today are git log and git revert. Without further ado, let's hop into an example again. A little preview slide. So let's say we're working. Let's check out our main branch. Ooh, this is not nice. So get main. We'll pull it first to make sure that we're up to date. Please ignore the white blobs. I'm not sure why they're there.
That is so weird.
So yeah, let's say we're making some changes. I'm a new developer. I don't know you're not supposed to push directly to master. So some groundbreaking bug that ruins the entire platform. So let's say I didn't know I did that, and let's say I accidentally just pushed to master. So we committed it. This will break everything, and we pushed it up. So let's say this breaks everything. I mean, everything is on fire. The whole company is about to go downhill at this point. Don't worry about that. All you gotta do, it's super easy. Take a deep breath. First, you gotta identify the commit, find the culprit. So easy enough said here. We found the culprit. This will break everything. I'm gonna restart this so it's a little bit more clear for you folks. Okay, so I'm gonna get bigger as well. So what we can do is we can run our first command, which is git log. And this will give us a log of all of our commits on our current branch, from the top being the most recent, and going down, it gets older. So we can see here, we found our culprit. This will break everything. We found it. All we gotta do is copy what is called a commit hash. So this is just a unique identifier for your one commit. We'll copy that. Then, as you can see, we're back in this edit mode. Whenever you see these colons here and you don't know what to do, just try hitting Q and you should be fine. Q stands for quit and you should be okay. I hope I don't break anything in your future workplaces. So yeah, we have this commit hash copied. So what we can do is we can run the git revert command with the commit hash, and it'll say what this will do is it will basically add a new commit, which undoes everything from the last commit. So again, we've got our friend, the colon. WQ stands for save and quit. And we're done that. So now we have the revert done. We can push that up. And you hate to see that. 1 second, please. Okay, this should be okay. All right, so we push it up and we refresh here and we have a revert commit. So let's check out what happened in this first one. So in this first breaking commit, we added this line. I don't know why this came up as a diff, but let's pretend that that part isn't green. So we had this groundbreaking bug that ruins entire platform. And then in the second one, we have, it's just the opposite. It's the exact inverse of what happened from this one. So quick and easy. What happens if you have two that break the platform? Revert both of them and you'll be fine. But ideally, you don't want to be at the point where you have two groundbreaking bugs in production. I think that is all from me. I'm going to stop this screen share and check the chat. see what's been going on.
See, now I've told him to use SSH or HTTPS, and he actually tried a few hours ago, and things didn't go well. So it's a work in progress.
Can you revert merges? Yes. I think so. Yes, you can. Like when I was doing my when I made the oopsie at my co-op, yeah, it was a PR that was merged into master, and then I had to revert the merge into master. So yeah, you can revert merges.
Remember that?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
How much of this did you know before co-op? None. Zero. I'm really thankful for my first co-op because they really took a chance on me. Like, I mean, I'm the worst example of like a person who has a co-op job because I didn't really do any personal projects or anything. I had like a couple from courses, but yeah, I didn't really do any of that. So they really took a chance on me, and I think it paid off for them. I hope so. But they taught me like everything I know. So really thankful to my first co-op. Yeah. Please drop your company name. I won't drop it here, but you can find it on my LinkedIn.
Yeah, quick reminder that reverting doesn't mean deleting what you did. It means doing the opposite of what you did. So if you think that you'll just get like you made a breaking bug change and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna revert it and nobody's gonna know. No, like people will know. It'll say like reverted this commit or this merge. So don't be like, oh, I'm just gonna revert and not tell anybody in my company. No, like still let your boss know.
Yeah. Don't think of it as a way to get away with it. You can do it for the rebase with the fix up, like no one will notice, but don't do it for that. Yeah. Do you want to run through the rest of it, JP?
Yeah, I'll take a quick run at it. We have 10 minutes left. Nobody else has any other questions. We're just gonna go a little bit very fast through a Git Ignore. So this is okay. I'll give you guys also a really cool story. This is the Discord bot that we created for nwPlus, and the first time that I committed this project to GitHub, I didn't know what a .git ignore file was, and so I look at my repo and it's like 600,000 lines of code, and I'm like, when did I write 600,000 lines of code? Like, what is going on here? And so I realized that I had also committed and pushed all of my Node modules to GitHub for no reason whatsoever, and I felt so dumb because like the repo was huge for no reason whatsoever, and so I really felt bad. So I learned what a Git Ignore file is, and it's something really easy to use. You should definitely use it, but it's something that maybe everybody knows except me, or maybe a lot of people don't know about this. But it on your project, just create a new file and call it .gitignore. It's really a .gitignore, and then you just start typing all of the files or folders that you want Git to ignore when you're committing and you're pushing, merging, whatever you're doing. So for example, here I'm letting Git know that ignore the .env file. Why? Because the .env file has keys that I don't want the world to know about, because then people get hack us. And then also ignore the node modules folder. How does Git know that this is a folder? Because it ends with a backslash. And so, as you can see, VS Code, very smart IDE, immediately realizes this, and it's like, all right, .env and node modules is grayed out because it is not going to be part of the next commit, or like it's just not being followed by Git. And so then you go into my repo or the repo, and you see a huge decrease of like another 600,000 lines of code on the repo, and you'll be like, what is going on here? But yeah, it's just using Git Ignore helps a lot, and you should definitely use it for your projects, especially if you're planning on showing these projects to your future work co-op placement managers and whatnot. And if you're going to push your code to be open source or something, also really good. And then there's also another file that I'm also being introduced to. Like I was introduced a while back. I really didn't take notice of it until a few days ago, and that is the README file. README files are really important files that hold a lot of information specifically for those projects that you want them to be kind of like, oh, this is like my one huge project that I want every hiring manager to look at because I'm really proud of. You should be proud of all your projects, but there's hopefully one project that you're really, really, really proud of. And so you definitely want to have a README file with information about that project. So let me show you an example of a really cool README file. That's scheduled. Sorry. So this is the Discord.js README file. You can see like there's even a table of contents, headings, like code, links. There's a ton of things. There's even like these cute little thingies with like how to donate, the dependencies if they're up to date, how many downloads, npm version. You can even like add things like how many issues there are, things like that. Yeah, you should definitely add a license file too. Pretty funny as well. So how a readme.md file works, it uses markdown language. If you want to learn more about the markdown language, you can just Google markdown. There's a ton of documentation on how to write markdown language. What we can do here is just look at the raw source code for this README file. And markdown language is very simple. You use hashes to make titles, and then dashes to do bullets, and then you can do links to specific parts of your MD file by doing this right here, which is like it's an open parentheses, a hash, and then the exact section, and then open parentheses, sorry, close parentheses. To write down code, you just do a oh my god, what is that called? I don't know. You just do that 3 times, and then you write the code language that you're using. A backstick. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Johnson. All right, thank you, everyone. A backstick. You do 3 backsticks, then the code programming language, code language. So right now it's JavaScript, and then you write the code, and it'll give you some pretty cool visuals. And then I was really interested on looking at these really cool thingies right here. And what I realized is that there's a really cool website called shields.io. All of this, by the way, all of these are linked on the slides at the very end on resources. This shields.io gives you the possibility of adding these shields to your README file very easily. So what you do is you go, for example, I wanted to add an issue tracking. So I would go into issue tracking, do GitHub issues, and then I'll just click on it. And I just need to add my user. I think my user would do nwPlus. So that's a club. And then the repo, it's called nwPlus. I don't even remember. Oh wait, I think it's but if it finds it, it'll give you like a correct shield, and then you can just copy it. And then what you do is you add it as an image source. It also uses, this is, if you've seen HTML before, this is HTML. Markdown uses a little bit of HTML as well. So that's basically how you do it. Now, if you want to look at a preview of your README file, VS Code comes included with a preview of MD files. So what you do is you just do a right click on the file and open preview, and you can look at the preview right here. And then if you want to add more things live, there's a heading again, save, and then preview, and it'll have a heading right there, things like that. That's a README file, again, also very useful to have for your projects, especially those that you want to show the world. And then there's also this really nice website called Make a README File, which goes through what a README file usually has. There's even a template for doing a README file. Usually a README file has the name of the project, a description, the badges, which is basically what we talked about, the little shields, have some visuals, probably some GIFs or videos about your project being used. The installation on how to install it from our Groundswells workshop this morning or this afternoon. Sorry, this afternoon. I learned that hiring managers do actually look at your GitHub and like clone your repo and run your code to see how things roll. If it's like if you're just full of fake news or if you really work on something. So having an installation guide on your README MD is just going to make that way much easier. And if it's a project that you're really passionate about and that you really want to get hiring managers to look at, then having an installation guide is perfect. Again, also a usage guide, a way to support that project. It's open source, things like that, roadmap, how to contribute, and then obviously the authors and any acknowledgements to other people that might work on the project or where you got the idea from or where you gotten help from, things like that. And then obviously you want to add a license because then people can just steal your code. That's really not necessary, but if you want to, then you should definitely do that. So those are README files. One last thing, that's something that I learned a few days ago as well. You can definitely add a README file to your GitHub profile. How you do that, again, this document is on the slides. This is how to add a README file to your GitHub profile so that you have a very custom introduction. Especially again, I just learned that hiring managers do look at your GitHub. Having a README file in your profile, it would make a lot of sense. And there you can add your favorite repos, what you like to do, what are you good at, things like that. You can even add some shields or your user, things like that. So just on your free time or some other day, you know, if you're going to start looking for co-ops, I would definitely encourage you to add README files to your profile and to your projects, and definitely use a Git Ignore file so they make a difference. Yeah, so these are all the resources. Again, everything that we went through, all the websites that we went through can be found here. The link is shared on the chat. Any final questions? Have anything that you'd like to add before we or to wrap up, percent? No more questions.
Yeah.
All right.
Also,
go ahead.
I'll just say, like, if any of you have any questions, like after it comes up after, like feel free to DM JP or I. We're always on. We're probably on for like the next 72 hours. And yeah, is the link for Git 201 slides? Oh, thanks JP.
Just send it to you via chat, and I'll also add it to Discord, just to have it in anywhere.
Sweet. We're good. Thank you all. You all have been great.
Thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you for coming. Have fun. We'll see you all tomorrow for opening ceremonies, 10:30 a.m. sharp. Don't be late. We hope to see you there. Enjoy your night.
Bye all.
Bye,
have
everyone.
a good night.